American people to discuss with you the current situation going on between the Ukraine and Russia and the Vladimir Putin military leader, Boghossian, and what's happening in accordance with Vladimir Putin's capability to create a situation that may not be seen by the intelligence or the American people or even our military. As a very well-educated man who has spent time in Russia as well as in the Ukraine, as well as having family from Lithuania and spending time in the Baltics, I understand quite well the region. And being that I'm a well-educated individual with a doctorate in foreign affairs, I understand Vladimir Putin quite well. First of all, I come to tell the American people that I want to be your next president. And I will be your next president with your support. Remember, a vote for me is a vote for you. So now I'm going to give you a little bit of my vision and discernment because, as I always say, God leads the way. So as God leads the way, he gives me discernment pertaining to what's going on in Russia and with Zelensky and Biden time and Tony's Blinken. China is playing the violin against the United States of America while sending Modi in to talk and meet with Biden so that they can continue to beef up the BRIC nations to destroy the American dollar bill. Putin is being sucked in and used by China with promises to continue to fight the Ukraine purposely and vindictively to bankrupt the United States of America and its allies. So that China and the BRIC nations, where Modi, who just came to see Biden and had a state dinner while he's working together with the BRIC nations and buying military equipment from Russia, our President Joe Biden, sorry, Joe, you got to go. I can't believe that you would have a state dinner and spend so much money on a leader who's actively, aggressively involved with China and the decentralization of the US dollar, as well as the fact that China visited the Ukraine and Vladimir Zelensky some time ago, which should have never happened. It was a poke in your eye, Joe. And recently, you have the South African Union visiting Vladimir Zelensky in the Ukraine, when Ramaphosa, the leader of South Africa, was put there by the Indians and by Prime Minister Modi. I really don't think you understand what's going on in the world because you don't have the experience that I have with 40 years of traveling the globe, whether it's India, Africa, Asia, Russia, Ukraine, China. And of course, the BRIC nations are strengthening. They have bought all of the capabilities they need through China, where China invested in all the infrastructure, natural resources in South America, Central America, as well as buying the Panama Canal, as well as owning the ports in the Bahamas, as well as now cooperating in Cuba for intelligence, listening devices, etc., and buying up all the shipping operations around the world to control the shipping and operating in a fashion of which we are being buffaloed. Russia is a straw man for China, and Russia will continue to fight until America bleeds itself and 33 trillion in debt goes to 50 trillion. I tell the American people that our leadership, starting from George Bush Jr., and then certainly with Barack Obama, and then to Donald Trump, and now to Joe Biden, the destruction of our society is clear as day. The morals, the principles, the socialistic movements in our country, the Constitution, the destruction of the Constitution, the forgotten God who placed us as new Israel, in one God we trust. So let me tell you, American people in the world, I want to be the next United States president to make peace and resolve and to stop the bickering, the torture, and the ability to be able to create what I call pundits, or how should I say, pitch decks, or good looks in pocketbooks, or sound bites that are creating political footballs and not really the most important issues that have to do with America, and America staying the leading power in the world, maintaining the strength of the dollar, and building back the American manufacturing and production, which is urgent. And Joe Biden, you're not able to do it. Your vision was good, but your party's not with you. And the ability to build back America takes a Herculean effort, which I'm ready to do, and I can do. And Donald Trump, you're going to go to court in Fort Pierce. Today they delayed the court, or requested to delay the court, so that they can file a case in Georgia, and we'll get into that another time, maybe tomorrow. But today, America, you have witnessed and experienced what I believe is the power in the brains of the KGB and Putin in real time. The leadership and military leader Prigozhin, who was a very close ally of President Putin, who withdrew the troops and started to head toward Moscow, 120 miles out, ready to confront Vladimir Putin as the leader and to overthrow the government, whereby even the Chechnyan leader was on the side of Putin, was about ready to overturn and maybe stop the war and have a coup in Moscow. At least that's what the world thought. But let me tell you something. Vladimir Putin has a master plan, and he's not going to give up until he reassembles the old Soviet Union and the Ronald Reagan days and Gorbachev and the breakup of the Soviet Union. So what you witness today, and again, it's only my intelligence and my personal opinion. I've not been briefed. I've not looked at any intelligence reports. I've talked to nobody about this but you, the American people, today, here, now, and I'm putting it on record. Vladimir Putin told Prigozhin to step back and stop and to retreat, or he was going to arrest them all, hang them out for treason, and threaten them all and their families for jail time and punishment. Prigozhin came back and said, well, we don't want to have bloodshed in Moscow, so we are going to withdraw and retreat our troops because we don't want bloodshed. Yeah, right. You don't want bloodshed. But yet, you're fighting in the Ukraine, claiming that Russians in the higher up echelons are launching missiles that are killing your troops And that's the specific reason why you go into Moscow, supposedly. The oligarchs who have created a massive interference in the 2016 election with hackers and hacking the FERC and the electric grid, and definitely with unconditionally rigging the election for Donald Trump. Why? It's said in Palm Beach, where I am, that there are certain documents that have been given and people that are in place that have a sufficient amount of evidence pertaining to our ex-president, as well as the oligarchs who invested in Atlantic City since then until now and invested with Donald Trump, which built back his portfolio and saved him from bankruptcy. As I said before, the Donald's a very smart man. But Donald's not for you, America. He's not for you and the people, because he has to fend for himself right now. Whatever he did in his life and his past and he did as president, it wasn't to help you, and it didn't help America. So please, take the scales off your eyes and the wax out of your ears, especially the evangelical community who refuses to invite me, a man of God, an anointed man of God, to their events. And why? The evangelical Christians have become a cult. And I question whether the majority of them even have read and understand the Bible and the foundation of our nation. When they got up at the event Friday night and booed Chris Christie, just shows me that they have no respect for biblical principles, and that there's a cult and a movement that only cares about fame, good looks, and pocketbooks, that they're not even paying attention to their rights, more importantly, their country. And when they don't allow me to go out and speak as an independent candidate that's more conservative, Christian, anointed in the Holy Spirit and the Ruach HaKodesh, and not inviting me to speak, they're doing the same as the media. Because, Joe Biden, he doesn't want to do any, debates with anybody, and says, it's been, historic that a sitting president doesn't do debates. So he's actually interfering with the election and not allowing the American people to hear people like me, especially if I decide to join the Democratic Party as an independent Democratic like Bernie Sanders and Magnus and others, and Manchin, of course. And Donald Trump's probably not going to show up at the debates because he doesn't have to. Because the evangelical Christians who are supporting this movement are cults to support Donald Trump for president, which they have every right to. But I question, where are your morals? Where are your principles? I'm not against Donald Trump. I am against some of the things that he's done because he had the greatest opportunity in life to become a great president. But he dropped the ball in a lot of ways. And now we're in this minutia and continued fight between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Come on, folks. Get with it. We need a different focus. We need a new America, like the New Deal and Roosevelt. Well, I'm the new America, and I'm here for you, especially the students, especially the people that need help, and especially to restructure the United States government's workforce to adapt them to the AI future, the culture wars that have been taking away votes and used for other motives in both parties, the bickering and divide between both parties and the people. I'm the uniter. I can do it. But I need you. And I need you to understand that God leads the way. On July 1st and 2nd, I'll be in Washington, D.C. at Lafayette Park, and I will pray in the open air to revive prayer again in the White House and in our country, and to ask the American people to join me for a day of prayer, 2 days of prayer. But I get back to Putin. As your next president, Daniel Imperato hereby states that the false coup that was structured by Putin, having the Fagosian troops withdraw from the Ukraine, making it look like they would attack Russia and Moscow and overturn the presidency of Putin and create a coup, was all planned. And it was planned because now Putin says, well, if you back down, stand back, and retreat, I won't punish you. Fagosian accepts, but he doesn't retreat to the Ukraine. What does he do? He retreats to Belarus. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. That was the greatest trick, the most sophisticated KGB move on behalf of President Putin to deploy troops in his number 2 man in Belarus without the world knowing, or without any announcement, or with any news coverage. He baited and switched, sent the troops to Belarus. Why? So the Chechenian rebels, the South African and African rebels that are led by Fagosian will assemble their military force in Belarus, and they will quietly infiltrate and take over the Belarusian military to have a buildup on the Baltics in Lithuania, Poland, Latvia, Estonia, where, as I said, I have family there. I know the region well. I know Putin well. And Vladimir Zelensky, I'm sorry to say, he was a president put there by YouTube and Facebook with no experience. And he's been sucked into a war that's trying to be created as a third world war, but the real purpose is to bankrupt America. And that's why China sent Modi here, to try to suck up to Joe Biden, and he took the bait. And at the same time, Modi came here to have a state dinner with the President of the United States while he's supporting destruction of the dollar bill. Boghossian moves into Moscow to make it look like there's a coup. KGB Putin, no disrespect, he accepts the deal to let them withdraw and retreat with no penalties. It's a nice show. A real nice show, really big. A really big show, really big, like Ed Sullivan used to say. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see a really big show. Really big. Well, people, you saw it. We now have Fagosian's troops quietly going into Belarus. They will assemble. They plan to take over the Belarusian army, whereby Russia and Putin and the president of Belarus have got together to join. They've agreed. They've done military exercises together. And this was a way to slip in the Russian troops without anybody seeing, to beef up the Belarusian military. And you will see more troops will come on the Baltic border, and Putin is preparing himself to put the squeeze on America and all the world. And remember, Donald Trump said a few nights ago that he was the only president that could stop nuclear war. He was the only one. If he doesn't become president, there's going to be a war and it's going to be nuclear. That's what he said. Just like he said, if you can find the Hillary emails, please find them. Let me tell you something, America. I want to be your president. Mark my words, this day, as an intelligent individual, well-educated, well-traveled, with my heart and soul in the interest of the American people, in my country. I'm old enough to know, but I'm young enough to go. I'm strong enough to do this job, smart enough to do it, and also want to do it because I want to give back to my country. I'm a simple man that has an education of over 40 years, traveling 150 countries, many, many times. And all I want to do is give back to you, the American people. So a vote for me is a vote for you. Going forward, I'll be holding more events, starting my podcasts, as well as dressing up a little bit more. But when I'm on the road traveling and I'm doing my campaigning, I enjoy being casual. I don't like being stuffy in a suit and tie. I don't need a suit and tie to overcome the adversity for good looks and pocketbooks. All I need is my heart and my soul in God. And God leads the way. So if God intervenes on July 1st and 2nd, and we pray, maybe, and only maybe, I will have the discernment to align myself with the party of choice to represent the independent voters in this nation, to move me into a position of leadership in this nation. The media's bias. They don't pick up people like me. They're afraid of people like me because I tell the truth. I have nothing to gain, only to help you. So my American people and my fellow citizens, I'm calling on you today. Call the media. Tell them that you want to have an interview and hear Daniel Imperato for president. Tell them you want to hear that. Call CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Call them. Spread my messages. Share them. Create the noise we need because the media is controlling this election with good looks and pocketbooks. And if you think Donald Trump tried to alter the election or rig the election, just think. The media is not giving me an opportunity fairly, an equal opportunity under the law. And they're denying you a choice. Biden's going to have no debates. Trump's not going to show up for his. There's going to be 2 Republican debates, maybe 3, but 2 for sure, and none for the Democrats. So how are the American people supposed to have a choice? Freedom of choice. The Democrats are supposed to be the people of civil rights, supposedly. That's a fallacy. Equal rights? Come on. How can you have equal rights if you don't even have a chance to vote for the person who may be a good possibility to be the next president? How you can say Democrats are for the Black Americans, and then they changed it to the people of color, and then they used the puns since Obama came in for the gay lesbian community, putting the rainbow on the White House, taking away God's rainbow to use it for a pun. The gay and lesbian people are just human beings like you and I. They need no special treatment pertaining to continue to promote, provoke, or state or talk or yell and scream about what they choose to be. I don't agree with it, but people have a right, but the government should stay out of it. And the only reason why the Democrats promote it is because they're only interested in winning, thinking you're getting freedoms, but you're not. The socialistic movement in our nation is almost unstoppable. And if you don't vote for me, that's a vote for you, and get me in that seat, and you allow the Democrats to win again, then I can tell you now, America will not be America as you know it. And if you let the Republicans win and they put Donald Trump in the White House again, I can tell you that America will not be the America that you once knew. We are in serious crossroads. We don't need politicians. We don't need wealthy businessmen who are multi-billionaires to try to buy the election. We need the people's president, 2008, Daniel Imperato, who was attacked, tortured, lied about, was put in courts, just like Donald Trump. I didn't cry about it. I didn't ask you to give me money to support my bills. I fought them, and I'm the Phoenix. And why? Because I'm a blessed man, and God leads the way. I got such an education in the court system to be able to share with you, whether it's the family court, the state court, the civil court, the appeals court, the tax court, even the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Please, people, I have the experience that you go through every day in life, whether it's parking tickets at the court, shopping lines and food lines, or getting cheated by the online shopping and the products and the charges, or going to the bank and getting charged to get money out of it, or trying to buy an airline ticket when they say there's no seats, and then you get on the plane, there's more seats than you thought, and they charged you for it. We are in a fee-fee state. It's got to stop. We must rebuild America's capabilities from A to Z. And I can't do it without you, the American people. And remember, Dan the man has a plan. I promise you, America, I have a plan. I have a plan. Look in my eyes. I have a plan, America, and my plan is to protect the foundation, the heritage, the Judeo-Christian, biblical, Greco background of our Constitution of the United States and our biblical principles. So I come to you now. Stop being buffaloed. Stop voting good looks and pocketbooks. Evangelicals, I'm a man of God. Give me a chance. Democrats, don't take the sound bites and don't take the political puns pertaining to abortion issues or gay and lesbian issues or gun rights issues, because it ain't going to do nothing for you, because they're taking away your rights. Socialism's on the move. You need to study the Constitution and the Bible. And both parties have created this debt and put America where we are. So they can talk all they want. Every president so far, all the way back 50 years, has increased the debt, minimized the capability of America's power pertaining to manufacturing and production. They've allowed companies to sell everything offshore back when they wanted me to go to Bermuda back in the cable days when I was building a $5 billion fiber optic cable system to connect 70 countries around the world. I know the internet. I hear these people talk about AI. I was one of the beginners of the internet. I was building the fiber optic cables in the sea before anybody even knew what the internet was. I'm a man that understands cybersecurity and artificial intelligence better than most. But yet I hear people on television and, Joe Biden talking about AI, America, India, I guess. Come on, folks. Come on, my fellow citizens. Give me a chance. I'm Daniel Imperato. I want to be your president. God leads the way, and I will be your president. So I thank you very much for this time. Again, listen to my podcast coming. Listen to my events and join. Follow me on my campaign tours. Call me if you'd like to meet me. Let me know if I'm in your town and you'd like to meet. I'm here for you. I thank you. I bless you. God bless America. God bless the troops. And God bless the people that give me a chance to rally them to pray America's prayer back in the White House, because I'm the rapper. Join me July 1st and 2nd, Washington, D.C. I'm going to get my bullhorn. I'm going to go to the CNN and the MSNBC and the Fox News networks and their headquarters in Washington, New York, Atlanta, and California. And I'm going to yell so loud until they give me a chance and give you a choice. I'm Daniel Imperato. They say I'm important. They say I have integrity. They say I'm possible, but only with God. And with God, anything is possible. So I can make the impossible, I'm possible, and you're possible, because a vote for me is a vote for you and a vote for God. It's from my house to your house to the White House to God's house. So God will lead the way. Thank you very much, Daniel Imperato.